The PCOS and women's health space on the internet is full of questionable information. And while I myself love sharing about everything PCOS, blood sugar, and women's health, sometimes I have to admit, even as a dietitian and professional, I find myself holding back on things that I want to truly say because I'm afraid of backlash or people just shooting me down on the internet. I have a whole video on how I feel about low and no carb diets, and you can check out the comment section of that video if you want to see what I mean. But I digress. In today's video, I want to chat with you about the things that I would tell you about PCOS if I weren't afraid of offending you. Because there's so many things that I feel like we need to have an unfiltered chat about. PCOS is such a complex topic, and there's a lot of research that is very brand new and on the rise. So there's not a whole lot of myth busting on the internet about it. So hopefully in this video, I can do that with you. You're actually seeing me on my second cup of coffee, so I'm not as chill as I normally am in my coffee chat videos, but hopefully you'll forgive me for that. Truth number one that I wish I could just tell you bluntly is that going low carb or no carb is only going to make your symptoms worse, at least for most folks. Some folks do really well with lower carb diets, but I think here's the differentiation. Low carb has a plethora of different meanings for different folks. So when I say low and no carbs diets don't work, I mean really restricting your carbs does not work. Slightly lower than what the average American eats is not what I define as low carb. So know that when I'm saying this. Usually with women with PCOS, I recommend no lower than 35% of your calories come from carbs. 35 to 50 is that sweet spot for carbs to have energy, to avoid crashes, to avoid brain fog, and to fuel your menstrual cycle. That is a big thing that we forget about with PCOS, is that we're trying to eat a well-rounded diet that is full of micronutrients that help fuel our cycle and has adequate macronutrients, carbs, fat, and protein, to fuel our body. If your body is not getting enough of any of these things, then it can cause amenorrhea or make your irregular cycles worse. It can also worsen insulin resistance, which affects everything in PCOS. It's really about managing your carbohydrates and picking the higher quality carbs than it is about getting rid of them entirely. Truth number two that I'd tell you if I wasn't afraid of offending you is that you don't have to lose weight with PCOS. However, even small changes in body composition, or if you have weight to lose, small changes in weight can help improve symptoms. And this is why I'm a dietitian and a personal trainer, is because I absolutely believe in the power of exercise and what it can do for your blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. Even a small amount of exercise each day can help lower your blood glucose, which can help with everything else down the line. Having a better A1C, having a better insulin, and having a better fasting blood glucose. All of these things improve inflammation, androgens, and the weight that tends to accumulate in your midsection when you have insulin resistance. You can typically see some changes in your labs by just reducing your body weight from 5 to 10%. So again, this is only recommended if you have weight to lose. This is not recommended if you're already considered a healthy BMI. If you are of a normal weight category, I would focus more on changing your body composition, aka gaining muscle, gaining strength, using heavier weights than I would on trying to lose weight on the scale. All right, truth number three that I would tell you if I wasn't afraid of offending you is that you can't out-supplement a blood sugar roller coaster. And I'm very sweaty in this room. Talking apparently makes me very sweaty, so anyway, off with the cardigan. You can take inositol and berberine all day, but if the meals that you eat and the timing of your meals and the types of food that you eat is all over the place and your fiber is low, you're not going to be able to manage those blood sugar highs and lows. A giant blood sugar spike in the morning and a huge dip followed by another giant spike in the afternoon is not going to be totally corrected by just taking a supplement. And this is coming from a dietitian who loves inositol and uses inositol, and I recommend it to so many folks because it works so well and it has so much research in the PCOS space. So it is a really good thing for insulin resistance and for managing blood sugar, but it is only one small piece of the puzzle. The absolute best thing for you to manage blood sugar is going to be finding strategies that work for you to have lower glucose spikes throughout the day. I don't know why I always do this when I'm talking about blood sugar. It's like a fish swimming in the ocean. Food is the foundation of making changes to your blood sugar, and then exercise, I would say, is like the little piece above that. And then the little tiny, like if we're doing like a little like Maslow's hierarchy of needs in terms of PCOS, we're talking food, exercise, stress, and then supplements are the tippy top where it's an extra, it's a bonus, but it's not going to undo what things you've already done if your diet is all sorts of crazy. That's not to say that insultingly, that's just to say, you know, some people really do think that supplements can be magic bullets, and it's not the case. If you want to hear me talk more about supplements, I do have several videos on those as well. So I'm gonna have a long list of suggestions in the comment section, but let me know if you have any further questions on supplements and what they can do for PCOS in the comment section below. Truth number 4 that I wish everyone knew about PCOS and diet is that protein alone is not the only savior of PCOS. Fiber is too. In fact, I think protein and fiber are pretty closely aligned with like how important they are to include more of in your diet. Fiber slows down digestion, it's great for gut health and building healthy bacteria and regular bowel movements, and it's also great for managing blood sugar spikes. So if you have simple carbohydrates, they are going to bring your blood sugar up and back down pretty quickly. However, if you have a carbohydrate food with higher fiber, it's going to be much more of a slow burn. I'm gonna try not to move my hands for this one. It's gonna be so much more of a slow burn than it would if it didn't have the fiber in it. Obviously, we don't eat foods in isolation, so you're not just on an average day gonna have a piece of toast that's high fiber. You're probably gonna have whole grain toast with peanut butter and banana and have maybe a yogurt with it too. That's all gonna play a role in how your blood sugar responds. So again, it's how your diet is as a whole. It's not just one food that's gonna impact you. But I digress. Fiber is so underrated for PCOS management that I think it needs a place and deserves a place in this video. And if you think that you're getting plenty of fiber and that I shouldn't even mention it in this video, did you know that under 10% of the population has enough fiber in their diet? Yeah. So you might want to double check how much fiber you're actually getting in a day and then set a goal to raise that number. Usually I recommend from 20 to 30 grams of fiber to be your goal range. The recommendation for most women is 25 grams, so right in the middle. And it's a little bit higher for men, about 38 grams. So fiber is so important to better health for so many reasons. Don't just focus on that protein, focus on fiber too. All right, time for a really juicy one. Yeah, let me get my coffee. Truth number 5 that I would tell you if I wasn't afraid of offending you is that GLP-1s can be great for a lot of women with PCOS, but they are not a cure-all. GLP-1s are medications that essentially help improve insulin sensitivity through several different mechanisms, including slowing down your digestion. And there can be a lot of pros to GLP-1s, especially for those who have pre-diabetes and diabetes. However, they are not meant to be for everyone. And I see them getting overprescribed all the time. I am not by any means against GLP-1 medications, but I think right now we're in this big explosion of the popularity of weight loss medications for obvious reasons, and it concerns me a lot for folks that are abusing them in particular. And I've had the pleasure of working with so many women who have been on GLP-1s, and again, I have no judgment for taking them in general, but it's so important, and I think it gets missed, especially in the media, that it's really important to work with a dietitian when you are taking these medications, because medications alone are not rewiring your habits, and they're not rewiring what may cause overeating for some. It's just like bariatric surgery, and I feel like it should be treated as such. Usually when you go to get bariatric surgery, you need to work with a dietitian for an extended period of time before you actually get approved. And that is because if you go into surgery and simply shrink your stomach, but still have other unchecked things like binge eating disorder or trouble with knowing what foods are healthy for you or knowing how to get in the right amount of nutrients now that your stomach is smaller or now that you took a GLP-1 and your appetite is smaller. If you know none of those things going into it, you're going to cause more harm than good and probably overeat, which can cause a plethora of things that I could go into, but won't for the sake of this video. And it can also lead to malnutrition if, again, you are having such a tiny appetite and you really didn't start with the basics of a healthy diet to begin with. So again, not against GLP-1 medications. We could talk about this in a whole nother video, and I do have 1 or 2 videos on this topic. I probably should make an updated one, but medications alone, just like supplements, are not a cure-all. Really, there is so much psychology that goes into why we eat foods and how much foods we eat and why we emotionally eat or don't eat, etc. So you would be so much better off fixing the root and core of those issues first, and then considering with your doctor if you need a GLP-1 versus going straight into a GLP-1 without considering those other factors. Truth number 6 that I think that you should know if you have PCOS is that movement matters, but you need to be careful to be too intense with it. Let me explain. Now, this is kind of a well-known fact in the PCOS community that low impact, high strength exercises are best for PCOS. And overall, I do think that's true. There is a lot of research that debunks that as well. So I think it can be confusing that some people say like never do HIIT workouts or never ever run if you have PCOS because it's too intense on your system and your body will just release too much cortisol and then you won't lose weight. For some folks, I do feel like intense workouts can be counterproductive, but my philosophy is if you enjoy the workout and it's not seemingly causing you any harm or hindering your goals, then go ahead and do it. I'm not here for saying like you can't do a certain exercise, but what I will say is just try to balance it out. So if you absolutely love HIIT workouts and you can't live without them, try doing them once or twice a week and then pair them in between some good slow and steady strength workouts. Or if you love running, which I don't love running, but I do know a lot of people that do. And if you love running, great, more power to you, but also pair it with some slow and steady walks or going on a hike with an incline and some strength workouts in between as well. I think the best layout for a structured workout routine with PCOS is going to be at least 3 days of heavy strength activity and then 2 days of lower impact activities like walking, hiking, yoga, Pilates, stuff like that. Stuff that's a little less intense that lets you actively rest in between your strength workouts because you will need that rest to rebuild your muscles. Truth number 7 that I think everyone with PCOS should know is that you don't have to be perfect, but it's pretty important to have a plan. Perfection leads to burnout, but just winging it also doesn't work either. I'm someone who needs some structure to feel fully functional and feel myself. Like especially with 2 kids under 2, no, I have to have structure, but I have to be careful not to go too far that direction either. It's like on a spectrum, right? I want to be somewhere like closer to structured, but not too structured, so I feel prepared. I find that having just a few anchor habits throughout the day really keeps me feeling my best, like having my supplements with my coffee and my breakfast, having a thought through backup plan if I don't get my morning workout in to work out at 2 p.m. instead. Always having a snack in my purse that's healthy, that has fiber and protein. Little tiny things like this that are very intentional, but give me a little structure, but a little flexibility at the same time, help me feel sane and help me stick to my PCOS plan so I'm not feeling all over the place and so I don't have to overthink it every single day. If you want to know more about my daily routine, maybe I can do a vlog style video and show you what some of those habits look like in action. I'd love to do something like that in the future. Let me know in the comment section below if that interests you. I'm also building a PCOS course that's going to go through everything A to Z about PCOS, including nutrition, managing stress, managing your body image and confidence, and mindset around PCOS and health management. So if you're interested, download my free 1-week meal plan guide and you'll be added to the PCOS Confidence pre-sale list. So you'll be the first to be notified when I launch this course. The first week that I launch it, I'm going to have 50% off. So you definitely want to get on the list if you're interested in having that in your radar and having a little extra structure and confidence to manage your PCOS symptoms and not do it alone. If you want to continue hanging out with me, click or tap the screen and head on over to this video right here, and I'll see you there. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Also, don't judge me for my hair. For the next 2 months, everyone just shh, don't say anything about my hair. I had a really bad haircut postpartum. The haircut was okay, but like the bangs part, I asked for curtain bangs and I got really short bangs. And then I attempted to like fix them myself, which I think I did like an okay job doing, but your girl is very insecure about her bangs right now. So just like, let me grow them out. Please don't judge me for them. Ignore that they're there. And hopefully they'll grow out in the next 2 months after Christmas, maybe. Oh, okay.